What's going on, everybody? Devil's Advocate here. Today's video, it might seem like it's talking about voter fraud, but it really isn't. It's not. This is more along the lines of the amount of disinformation that is taking place in the mainstream media right now. I'm pretty sure most of the people that follow my channel are already following a lot of the things that are going on with voter fraud and the such, and Sidney Powell and Rudy Giuliani and Trump's legal team and all that other stuff, right? And everything that's going on in the swing states and other states as well. Now, what I wanted to take the opportunity to do was to just give an example of how desperate, I'm using the word desperate, how desperate the mainstream media is being right now with trying to spread disinformation and pretty much spin the facts in order to get the general populace to get under the certain notion or mindset that things are going the way that they truly aren't. Okay, so I used Snopes. I've heard people say it both ways. I'm going to say Snopes. I say Snoops because I like you're snooping around. Either way, pick your poison, right? I'm using Snopes or Snoops as an example because historically, I've known a lot of my friends and family like to use these guys as a reference to try to prove their fact-checking points to me. Now, you can correct me. Maybe some of you people out there have different friends that use different sources, but in my personal case, in my personal circumstance, anytime I got into a debate with somebody about something, they'd pull up Snopes. Because Snopes was, I guess, deemed to be like the epitome of fact-checking community, and they were purely objective in their assessments, right? So to be honest with you, for the longest time I didn't even contest it. I just accepted it at face value. I had no reason to contest it. So that is the reason why I'm using these jokers as a source today, because I'm going to read you an article. Give me one moment, please. Hold on. This might be important. Okay. You got kids and stuff, and kids, you never know. They message you, and it might be important. Maybe it's all important. I don't know. But anyways, so for those who don't know, recently, Trump's legal team and Rudy Giuliani came out on record to make a public announcement that Sidney Powell is acting on her own and she's not part of Trump's legal team. So let's put that out there, right? And let's just say that when that announcement was made, everybody, left, right, center, like it stirred a big pot of emotions. And all of a sudden, of course, people do what people always do. They start drawing their own conclusions. And what I would like to do, I would like to put this out here on notice, right, and start breaking this down a little bit, and then I'll give you my personal assessment on what I think, what I think is happening. And it's a pure strategic move, and you have to be a strategic thinker to be able to break this down for what it is and be like, you know what, I understand exactly what they're doing, and it makes complete sense. Because people by nature who generally just live their entire life assessing everything at surface value would not understand what's going on here because they're so used to living their life from a superficial lens. And they can't think anything past the surface. But I digress. But let's move on to this article. Let's start with Snopes. So, according to Snopes, Trump campaign legal team distances itself from Sidney Powell. Perhaps Sidney Powell has gone too far, even for Rudy Giuliani this time. So let me go on right here. Trump's campaign legal team moved to distance itself from the firebrand conservative attorney under tumultuous 7 days in which Powell made multiple incorrect statements about voting processes, unspooled, unsupported, and complex conspiracy theories, and vowed to blow up Georgia with a biblical lawsuit. Now, I will stop right there. It's not hard to start deducing very early on that this is a biased assessment, because nobody but Sidney Powell and those closely associated with her knows whether or not she has evidence or doesn't have. She says she has evidence, and as far as her legal track record goes, nobody has any reason to doubt what she's saying. You don't. Her record speaks for itself. So when she's in a position to where if she says that she's going to do something, people should start shitting their pants. Or I told one of my viewers that I would do better. People should start pooping their pants that she says what she says she has, and she's going to do exactly what she says she's going to do. But I don't think that they are doubting her. I think that they're doing what they're always doing. They're trying to use the media to spin a different narrative to make it seem like the Democratic Party is still in control of the situation when it is unraveling very quickly. But either way, let's continue. Sidney Powell is practicing on her own. She is not a member of the Trump's legal team, and she is not a lawyer for the president in his personal capacity. Giuliani and other lawyer for Trump, Jenna Ellis, said in a statement, and this was from their campaign legal team. Sidney Powell is practicing law on her own. She is not a member of the Trump's legal team. She is not a lawyer for the president in his personal capacity. Rudy Giuliani, blah, 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 blah. There is no immediate clarification from the campaign, and Powell did not immediately return emails seeking comment. Okay, so this just kind of goes on to say that pretty much, in essence, that Trump's legal team is distancing themselves from Sidney Powell because she has gone off the deep end. She has gone off into far right conspiracy theories, and she is off her rocker. And the Giuliani and the Trump legal team are saying, you know what? She's too much for us. She's gonna do us in, and she's gonna destroy all of our progress, whatever progress. We got to distance ourselves from this woman. That is false. That is disinformation. That is the same type of rhetoric that every single mainstream media outlet is spreading everywhere. Sidney Powell was never a member of the Trump legal team. She was just working alongside them. And she has stated before that everything that she is doing is not necessarily for Trump. It is for the American people. So she can't be really part of Trump's legal team, and I'll explain this in a second. But her path, her sights is set on exposing everything for what it is. And she says, let the chips fall where they may, which means Democrats and Republicans alike can be implicated in what she's about to expose. Just people on both sides. So she's not working for Donald Trump and the Republican Party. She is working for the American people. And just by proxy of what she's doing, Donald Trump can see a tremendous amount of benefit on his behalf through what she's doing. But again, I'll get into that in a second. But let's move on to what Sidney Powell actually has to say, right? This is a day later. All right. This is from Newsmax. So Newsmax is one of the media outlets where we can start trusting what they're saying. Not trusting it, but they're much more credible than MSNBC, CNN, ABC, all them jokers out there. So Sidney Powell wasn't part of Trump's legal team. Right, she never was. So attorney Sidney Powell, who the Trump campaign said Sunday is not part of the team representing it in legal challenges to the presidential election, has agreed that she does not work for the campaign or for President Trump. This is from her. I agree with the statement today, Powell said, told the Wall Street Journal in a statement after the President Trump's personal attorney, Rudy Giuliani, announced that she was not part of the team. I will represent we the people and seek the truth. I intend to expose all the fraud and let the chips fall where they may. We will not allow the foundations of this great republic to be destroyed by abject fraud. And I'm going to stop that right there. So if you were to go on to Parler, even General Flynn's son went on to go ahead and give some extensive detail, because as you can see, I ran out of room on my screen right here, so I can't put more stuff up there. But on Parler, General Flynn's son went on to say that a lot of this stuff that's gone out, the reason that Rudy Giuliani's team has gone out and make that public announcement is so that puts people on notice. And this is mainly a money issue. This is a money issue, and this is just so that people don't get their wires crossed that she's working for the RNC and all this other stuff. It's like, no, people need to know that even though all this stuff that's going on, Sidney Powell is working. She is her own entity, and if you want to support her, there are different avenues and channels to help her out, donate to her cause and stuff like that. She's got a different bowl of wax going on right now. Donald Trump and his legal team, they're focused on the actual states and the states' processes and the lawsuits in the individual states, right? So having to do with the processes and the ballot counting and all the other stuff. Those are the battles that they're taking on. Those are the challenges that they're making. And I told you, if you remember from one of our previous videos, I said that this was a three-pronged tiered system. And it seems like, don't hold me to it. It seems like this is playing out the way I suspected that it would. Even though, when I said it before, I wasn't exactly sure how it was supposed to play out, but I'm starting to get a little bit of a little bit more a focus on how this landscape is starting to look. I need a drink. So, anyways, this tiered system, right? I told you before that Donald Trump would just hope. Right? He would hope that, I guess this is turning into another voter fraud thing. This is not voter fraud video, I promise you. I'm not focused on that, okay? So don't make me out to be a liar. I promise oh God, I'm splitting hairs now. But anyways, all right, let's continue. So he says, hey, I know you're going to cheat, but I'm going to hope you're not going to cheat. And I hope you're going to run this election fairly, even though I know you're not going to run this election fairly. But I'm already prepared for that. And then they did exactly what he thought they were going to do, which is cheat. They cheated, right? He knew it was going to happen. So Rudy Giuliani, Donald Trump's lawyer, they get their teams together and they start filing all their lawsuits and stuff and start contesting everything in individual states. Excuse me. And something started transpiring that made me start having to reevaluate how I thought this might play out. So there was a lot of resistance in a lot of these lawsuits that were being disseminated throughout the states, right? And I said that through this tiered system, Donald Trump and his team are going to try to challenge this election through litigation. And if out of sheer desperation, if he absolutely had to, he was going to declare this entire election process a matter of national security. And he would pull that lever if he had to. But that is a last-ditch effort because that is literally blowing up the entire system. And he doesn't want to do that. if he doesn't have to, because there's going to be a lot of collateral damage and a lot of fallout. Even though it would be still much better than just letting a fraudulent election just take place and just let somebody who doesn't deserve to be in office just assume office. It's still much better than that option and that alternative. But he doesn't want to go that route. But then as I started seeing more information come out, I'm like, okay, so there's more pieces to this puzzle on why we really don't want to go this way unless we absolutely have to. And I'll explain this in a second. So what we're starting to see is some of these swing states, right? Some of these swing states that seemed very animate about giving stark pushback on Trump's legal team about, reassessing and certifying these votes are starting to change their tune a little bit. And I'm like, why? Why would they do that? Why would they do that? Why would they do that? Why are they backpedaling? And I started. Now you can't hold me to this. This is all just information just unraveling in my brain as I'm thinking about it. Okay, because I might not be 100% accurate about this, but this is just the way it's playing out in my head as I'm thinking about it. I was like, okay, so Sidney Powell is doing her thing. And I will have to confirm this, but it seems from what I understand, Sidney Powell actually has links to the military. So she has ties to the military. I haven't confirmed this, but it would make sense. So let's just assume, because if somebody throws that information out there, that's to me, that's what I would consider information that doesn't help nor hurt anybody's cause to put that out there. So that's kind of what gives me the deductive reasoning that maybe that there's probably a higher likelihood that there is truth to that. Again, I'll verify that later. You know what? Give me 1 second. Let me see if I can pull that up on my phone. Let me see if we can just verify right now and just get that out of the way. Apologize for the delay. I knew. I knew I wasn't going to get very far with this. I know I wasn't going to get far with this because, mainstream media, everything, Google algorithms, they're squashing everything. So I'll see if I can get verification on that. But the rumor floating around on Parler and a couple of other alternative media sources that Sidney Powell has links to the military. Okay, so with that out of the way, right? So she's got her own thing going on, and through this tiered system, right? Let's just say we got this tiered system that Rudy Giuliani and Trump's legal team, they're trying to handle things from a litigation aspect, and then Sidney Powell is acting on her own in the best interest of the American people. This is not about Donald Trump. She's taking a different angle, right? And her angle is, I am going to expose the fraud from a different angle. You guys can handle all those ballots and absentees and fraudulent counting and blocking out poll watchers. Y'all handle all that garbage, right? You do all that. But what I'm going to do, I'm going to focus on these electronic voter systems. This is what I'm going to focus on, because this is a different bowl of wax, and this is a matter of national security. And I'm going to handle this because this is a completely different thing, and it has no deadline, right? Because everything Rudy Giuliani and his team is doing, it has to be wrapped up by December 14th, if I'm not mistaken, right? They have to get this. There's a timeline on what Rudy Giuliani and his team are doing. So Sidney Powell has to separate herself from that because she can't be restricted by these time restraints. She has to just do whatever she needs to do to build the case that she needs to build, so that if this litigation thing doesn't fall out the way it needs to, she's built the case strong enough for Donald Trump and his administration to say, all right, we tried to do it through the litigation process. It's not working. But Sidney Powell has successfully built a case sufficient enough to prove to us that our election is now a matter of national security. And we're going to go ahead and pull that lever. Because now I cannot trust that foreign governments and foreign entities have not and do not have their hands all up in our freaking cookie jar. And it will be valid, extremely valid. Anybody who looks at this information can see that that's what's going on right now. Like, she hasn't even presented her case yet. But anybody who's willing to look back as far as 2006, where even CNN started, when CNN seemed to be a halfway reputable news source, even CNN brought this concern up with Dominion voting systems back in 2006. Now we're 14 years after the fact, still bringing up Dominion. I'm telling you, the red flags were there for many, 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 many years. So now CNN, when once a reputable news outlet brings up concerns with electronic voter theft and voter fraud via Dominion voting systems, they bring that up in 2006. But 14 years after the fact, in 2020, now we've had the fairest and most transparent election in American history. Okay. But I digress. So this is what's happening. So now I believe what I think is going on is that a lot of the people who are implicated in a lot of this BS are starting to see, okay, they've caught us red-handed. They've caught us red-handed. This is not looking good. This is not looking good. We might need to start revisiting the idea of letting Trump's legal team handle this from a litigation standpoint. Because at least if we handle it this way and just give Donald Trump the election through litigation, maybe some of us will keep our lives intact and some of us will not be taken out to the firing squad, figuratively speaking, right? And I think that's what's happening. There's some backtracking going on because now they're starting to realize that not just Donald Trump, but Donald Trump, the people that are working in proximity to him, Sidney Powell, let's say in proximity because she's not working for him, but he will definitely benefit from her work. They're starting to understand that they have a lot of incriminating evidence against them that will not only prove that fraud occurred, but these are treasonous activities. So if they say, hey, look, okay, we screwed up. Not only did we screw up, we got caught screwing up. We screwed up big. So we really probably, we need to just, we probably, the smart thing to do is just let Trump's legal team handle things and just give them what they want. And then if we lost, we lost. And then we'll live to fight another day. But if we keep pushing this envelope and we keep giving this pushback and we don't let Trump's legal team handle things the way we know that they should, the way it's supposed to work, and this thing doesn't shake out in his favor and he has to call a matter of national security, people are going down everywhere. And then the Democratic Party, like I said, will be dead in the water and it will never recover ever again. And I think that's what's happening. I think they see the writing on the wall. But right now, in the meantime, mainstream media is out there still trying to pull the wool over the American people's eyes and make it seem like, Trump's legal team is scared of Sidney Powell because she's loony. She's cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. No, that's actually not it at all. They're actually ecstatic because she's got a hold of some juicy information. And they can't wait for her to go ahead and present her case, which I believe she's filing her case either Wednesday or Thursday, I believe. And, she's going to present her case Wednesday or Thursday, if I'm not mistaken. But anyways, so that's it. The premise of this video was just to kind of point out the disinformation that's going on. Sidney Powell is still working closely with Trump and his legal team. She just doesn't work for them. But the mainstream media is trying their very best to discredit everything that's going on. And the longer they do this, the worse it's going to be for everybody who believes the mainstream media. Because anybody who's following the alternative news sources and they're looking at things behind the curtains, Trump's legal team, Rudy Giuliani and company, are actually making progress. Like the votes in Pennsylvania are actually getting called into question. Michigan, back in play again. These things aren't being completely ruled out. These things aren't being completely ignored. They're making headway. Now, but is it the kind of headway that's going to be necessary? So from what I understand, the goal is not to keep everything, is not to overturn everything per se. The goal, the path to victory through litigation is just to keep the votes from getting certified in time and to keep Joe Biden from reaching 270 electoral votes. If they could just keep him from reaching for 270, then it can go up to the next echelon where it'll get voted through Congress. And then that's it. So hopefully, he'll win that way, right? He'll win that way. And then if he wins that way, both sides, even though the Democratic Party, as foul as they are, will still live to fight another day. None of this will go away. Donald Trump will be reelected. He won't label this a matter of national security, but he'll be reinaugurated, right? He'll be inaugurated, or just say he'll assume his second term. And what'll happen is all this stuff, it's not going to go away. People are still going to pay a price. It's just that he won't deem this entire thing a matter of national security. He'll handle it through other avenues. But people are still going to pay a lofty price for the crimes that they have committed. It just probably won't be as many people as if he were to call this a matter of national security. Because if he does that, there are a lot of heads that are going to roll. Like, yeah, it would be bad. It'd be notably bad. Like, I could even admit that I'm like, man, there's gonna be a whole bunch of people in trouble if he does that. Like, you're gonna have like you would have the military roaming the streets. That's what we'd have. We'd have the military roaming the streets. And it'd be bizarre, but maybe necessary. But anyways, I'm done. If you enjoyed this video, please like, share, subscribe, and like I said before, I am shadow banned, maybe indefinitely. But I think I did a good job of cleaning up this video. I didn't drop any F-bombs. I don't think I dropped any profanity at all. Well, congratulations to me. Anyways, as always, take care of yourself. Be safe, use your brain, be smart, and think. Until next time, peace. What's going on, everybody? I completely forgot. See, that's what happens when you make unscripted videos. You start forgetting stuff. So one of the points... excuse me. One of the points I completely forgot to make was why President Trump doesn't want to pull the lever on deeming this a matter of national security. It's because with all the information that Sidney Powell has on record and that she has on file, there are a lot of other countries implicated in this information. Meaning that if she goes down the road of exposing all this stuff, which I think that she's going to, quite honestly, what's going to happen, this isn't the issues, the ripple effect is not going to stay within the borders of the United States of America. What's going to end up happening is going to start causing a lot of it's going to rock the boat in a lot of other countries is what's going to happen. And I think that's why President Trump is going to want to refrain from traveling down this path, because it's going to cause like I said, so much negative fallout. But negative fallout, but necessary fallout nonetheless. This needs to happen. And I'm telling you, I'm going to tell you from my personal perspective, and I will wrap this up again for the second time. I hope that all the litigation stuff in the courts don't pan out. I know he wants to play damage control. I know that he wants to go the path of ruffling the least amount of feathers possible, and then he just kind of works over the next course of the next 4 years of handling things as he sees fit. He doesn't want to push the panic button and just cause a mass hysteria all at once. That's not good for anybody. But I believe personally that that's exactly what needs to happen. So I personally hope that the litigation process in the courts doesn't work out. It probably will, now that I think about it, now that I'm looking at how things are kind of changing as time passes. I think that the Democratic Party is going to roll over on their backs, and all of those snakes are just going to say, you know what, it's better to let this man have what he wants than to keep pushing this, and we're all going to bury ourselves if we keep going down this road. So I think that ultimately he's going to get what he wants out of the courts, even though I hope that he doesn't. I hope that he doesn't get what he wants out of the courts, and I hope he has to pull that lever, and I hope that we get to witness this entire system get blown to hell. That's what I want. I want to watch this whole system get blown to hell. But I'm done. Peace. Again.